What's up, guys? Brandon with Strict Vision Athletics here with a very special product review. So today we are reviewing one of my personal favorite pieces of equipment that I've ever encountered. This is the Squatmax-MD. I very much like their name because this is one of the only peer-reviewed styles of belt squats that really does stand the test of time and really does hold up as just a safe and effective way to lift heavy. That is something that I have really searched the market for. I like multi-use machinery that is for strong athletes. There are a lot of multi-use machines out there, especially in the home gym fitness arena, that oftentimes for serious athletes, for people who want to be involved in powerlifting, they will have a difficult time getting to their max on those machines. This is different. The Squatmax-MD is designed by somebody who understands athletics, understands biomechanics, and has created the best belt squat in the world. I say that with confidence, and from just my time using it, I've never been able to go as heavy on a belt squat as I do with this one. That being said, this does not just do the belt squat. There are so many different variations of exercise. You can do lateral step-ups, you can do closed-toed, wide-toe belt squats, you can do chest-supported rows, you can do pause squats using the seat, you can do hip hinge, you can do hip thrust. There are so many different movements that are capable on this, and all of that is going to go into the score that this bad boy gets. So on our product reviews, as you guys know, we do this based on 4 categories. We go pricing, usage, footprint, and customer service. Those are the 4 categories we stick to when we do product reviews. Let's start with pricing. So this, as I mentioned, is for the big boys. It obviously can be scaled down to any level of fitness depending on anybody's strength, but this has the capability to lift anybody to their nth degree. The pricing on this is about $1,500 starting, up to $1,900 with all the bells and whistles, and that's the model I have. I have the chest-supported hip hinge pad, which is what I use this for. I've got the belt squat pad, and I've got the I've got the Squatmax-MD as it stands here. So I kind of went with all the attachments. I got the biggest possible one. Thank you to Brian Hennessy for working with us and sending us this out. Let's talk about how this reflects the price that it is. I am so impressed by this thing. I cannot tell you how many different powerful movements I can get out of it because of that. It is certainly an investment. If you're going to drop anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 accounting for shipping on a piece of equipment, you want to know that it's good and that you're going to get your money's worth. I can say without a shadow of a doubt, this will get you your money's worth. You will not regret buying the Squatmax-MD. If you are in the market for a safety squat machine, just talking about the belt squat, not even any of the other movements, you're not going to get a better deal than this. This is amazing. And really and truly, it's not all that expensive for what you're doing. I have seen some of these belt squat machines out there that are comparably priced that don't do half of the movements of the Squatmax-MD. So I cannot tell you how grateful I am that this is the model that we went with. So that being said, the pricing is very, very fair. I'm going to give it a 9.1. That's a great score on pricing. For pricing, that's probably one of the better scores we've given. And it's because of what it does. And that kind of brings me to the next category, which is the usage. So the usage on this thing, it really is impeccable. And you are going to get, call it 5 solid lifts, and they will be 5 of the heaviest lifts you will ever do. You can do squats, deadlifts, pause squats, hip hinge, hip thrust. You can do so many big multi-joint movements using this thing. You can't do that on a lot of these other machineries. That's the thing. This may be a multi-use machine that, let's say you're only limited by those 5 lifts, but those 5 lifts are all you would ever need if you were looking to get one piece of machinery. So the usage on this is as impressive as the price. I'll give it an 8.7. I think an 8.7 is a great score for usage. Again, it just does so much. So that's usage. Let's go footprint. So the footprint on this, as I mentioned, this is a multi-use machinery, and Brian had an understanding of, okay, this is going to be in the home gym community. This is not just going to be a commercialized product. I need to make sure that this is efficient, space-saving machine. You've got 4 by 5 by 10. Now that is a special note that I will say. This is certainly a space-saving machine. The height is the biggest arena you have to account for. Because if you're up here on the bucket, if you're on the top platform of the platform, and you're somebody who is 6 feet or higher, you're standing 10 feet off the ground. Your head will hit the ceiling of a 9-foot ceiling. So make sure that you have the space in the height arena in order to do this. It's why we chose to do this outside. I was like, okay, you know, I could put it inside, but I've got stuff hanging off the ceiling. I got the, you know, models and everything. It might be a little bit of a space issue. So outside is much better. We put the mirror here. It's not claustrophobic. It's perfect. It's a great outdoor machine. That's a special note that I'll make that doesn't really have to do with the footprint, but this machine does very well outdoors. That's a big concern I had, because when I saw this and I understood the height variability from Brian, I asked him, I'm like, okay, you know, how does this do outside? And he said, well, if you keep it kind of insulated from the weather, it should do perfectly fine. It's been rained on. We've had some dust storms here out in Arizona that have gone through. It gets a little bit dirty, but it's super easy to clean. And there's not really all that, it's not like a selectorized machine with a bunch of bells and whistles on the inside. It's very straightforward. It's a belt squat, so it runs off free weight. So it does very well outside. It's not bad. And even in the condition with the sun and stuff, I did put up the awnings to keep it away from the sun. It's the one thing I would do if I were you and you did want to protect the pads. Make sure there's some shade over it. You could buy a cover, something like that. But other than that, it does great. Again, footprint is outstanding. 4 by 5 by 10. I'll give that an 8.9. This is a very impressive product review. I know these scores are very, very high for all these categories. It's not an accident. Again, this thing, for what you're getting and what you can do, I have seen some of these belt squat machines where they've got horns coming off the side, they've got your platform to grab onto, or they've got your handles to grab onto, and then your platform under your feet. And some of these things have been 6, 7, 8 feet long. Like the width on these things, because they're side loaded, really doesn't create an efficient footprint. This is all in the center. All the plates are loaded right here in the middle. So it really does compact, and I can fit it in this tiny little area and do all these huge lifts just inside of this 4 by 5 footprint. If you've got the height, this is an amazing machine to use at home. So well done on the usage and well done on the footprint. Customer service. So this is one of the areas that any of you guys who watch our reviews know I gravitate toward companies with good customer service. It's the biggest thing I look for when I do partnerships. It's the biggest thing I look for when I buy new equipment. For what we're doing, I need to know that there is some real education behind this, that there is actual science. I need to know, because my voice in this is not just for me and for my clients. I am speaking about all this to you guys, and I want to know that I'm able to give, I'm able to convey you guys accurate and proper education on how to use this stuff, and I need to know that the company values that. Brian over at Squatmax has done an amazing job with his education. He understands biomechanics, as I mentioned earlier. He understands how a squat is supposed to be designed, how to create this. This is not just for the big boys. I mentioned that I like it because you can go heavy as a power lifter or as somebody who's really trying to push it. But this is also an amazing PT and a recovery tool. Somebody who's had back issues, somebody who can't squat anymore. This is the safest, most effective way to load up your legs, build up your lower body in any way you can possibly imagine. This is how you do that. I cannot say how amazing that is, that Brian has not only come up with a piece that does that, but that he's educating the community on that aspect of this as well. On a personal note, Brian has answered all of my questions. I have had dozens of them over the months that we've had this thing. There is so much that I have used this for and implemented into my training on a personal level that he has always been there to answer. So well done, Brian Hennessy. He is also an amazing inventor. This is not the only piece of equipment that has sort of blown my mind. His Henny attachment, which we'll do another thing on, is another. He's an inventor. He's got a mind for this. He's got a mind for creativity and a mind for fitness, which I can appreciate because I have the same thing. So for customer service, well done, Brian. Well done, Squatmax-MD, 9.2. I don't have any reservations giving you all that score. The average of this is an 8.98. Yes. Well done. It's one of the more impressive reviews we've done. I value the Squatmax-MD here. I would never get rid of it. The only thing that I will mention, this literally my only critique of this, this does not come with any grip tape on it. That is the only critique that I would have of the Squatmax-MD. Brian, I advise that you get yourself, and I spent a few hours doing it on my model. That's why mine is textured like this. I have the grip tape. It makes a world of difference, especially if you're somebody who is putting this outdoors. the dust, the rain, the platform itself may get a little bit slick. Make sure you have grip tape on your model. And Brian, if I were to advise you, I would add that, and I would add a pad to your pause squat bench. Those are the only two adaptations that I did. Well, that and the custom decals, of course, but that's just all me. So pad on the pause pad right here, and then the textured grip tape on the Squatmax. That's the only difference I would make. On my model, it's made a huge difference. Other than that, you guys, all you need is a Squatmax-MD and some plates. That's the other thing I would say, is that in order to properly operate this, you will need to buy yourself some plates. But if this is an outdoor model, just find yourself some used plates, some stuff you can stack on the bottom. Just leave them on there. The Squatmax-MD runs off free weights. So that being said, well done to Squatmax-MD. Guys, thank you for watching. If you guys have any questions, if you disagree with a score that I gave, or if you want to see a different piece of equipment reviewed, please leave a comment below. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing.